What is up, my friends? It is 12 Central on a Tuesday, which means it's time for Build with the CEO. I'm your CEO of Coach Catalyst, Trevor, and I'm here today to talk about Q1 marketing. I am on the tail end of influenza A, so hopefully I don't have any coughing spells during this episode. But please apologize. I do apologize in advance if I do. Our goals for today are to talk about Q1 marketing. It is the end of November, but this is when we should really be thinking about Q1 marketing. So there's some things I want to share with you today, or just to kind of get the wheels turning on ways to kind of plan out really your Q1. And so at its core right now, what we should be thinking about for Q1 is what is the signature program that we're going to launch in Q1? What's the thing that we can offer to the marketplace in Q1? Because quarter one is the new year, and whether you start right after the new year or a couple weeks into January, like, people are thinking about improving their lives. And so if you're listening to this, you probably help people improve their lives, um, which means we need to be putting an offer out into the marketplace during this time. And so that should be like the number one thing that we're figuring out. What is that offer, right? Do we have our landing page created? Do we have email sequences? All the things we need, excuse me, all the things that we need to basically sell that offer, right? Maybe it's a 6 week challenge. Maybe it's a 12-week coaching program. Um, I really don't have any I don't have any thoughts necessarily on the offer. I think the offer is different depending on kind of who you are, where you're at. But we need to have something that we're putting out into the marketplace. So, and then we're starting to, once we figure out that offer, the thing that we're presenting, how are we telling people about it? Do we have a landing page? How do people sign up? Yada yada yada. Are we using Coach Catalyst? Cool. What does that look like inside of Coach Catalyst? So we do have a couple kind of New Year type programs in Coach Catalyst. You could really use any of the programs that we've created, any of the challenges, but New Year, New You is one that we've created specifically to this time of year, which I think can be adapted really well. Um, to kind of put out into the marketplace. And you could make that an individualized program if you're more a one-to-one coach, or you could make that a group coaching program as well. And so I think that's a really good one, and that's the first one that comes to the top of my head. Clean and lean can always be used. That's just kind of an all the time type of thing with a very good nutrition focus. There's a few more in there that I'm not thinking of, but we try to put those to the top as we're starting to get a little bit closer to this. So that's the first thing. All right, we want this signature program, we want this offer to put into the marketplace. But in order to have right, in order to have people to present this offer to, like, we should be doing some work now, right? Really from a list building standpoint, starting to post a little bit more consistently on socials, right? Just providing value, so that when we do launch in January, we're not launching to crickets, right? We're launching to an audience. So starting to do some of that list building now, and we've talked about that in previous episodes, so I'm not going to kind of hammer that, but we should have some list building stuff that's going on right now. Personally, for us, we're doing the Christmas Fitness Countdown. We just got done with some spectacular stuff. We've kind of had a number of irons in the fire, just kind of building the list, because we are going to launch in January with a bigger program, right? And we want to make sure that we're launching to an audience. And so, another thing to think about, especially for this January time of year, and if you've been coaching for a while, is using it as a time to reactivate previous clients. Again, they're going to be in this mindset where I'm ready to make a change. And that can be a great time to reach out to previous clients and just be like, hey, I was thinking about you. We have a new program that we're launching in January. I thought it might be interesting for you, depending on where you're at in your journey. If you're interested at all, just let me know. Hit me up and I can tell you more about it. Right. I think it's a really easy way to reach out to previous clients. And I would do kind of personal research reach outs. I won't necessarily do just kind of blanket email campaigns. I would do just personal reach outs. Hey, how did the holidays going? How are things? Are you still moving in the direction that you want to go? I know it's been a while since we worked together, but we're launching this new thing. I don't know if it's interesting or not for you or where you're at right now, but just wanted to put it on your radar in case it would help you, move in the direction that you want to go. So I think a reactivation campaign, really trying to plan a reactivation campaign for Q1, can be another great way to help kind of fill this main program. But it all kind of stems from this main program. We don't want to have like 50 things going on. Like, let's figure out that main program and then let's work from there. And so having a reactivation campaign around that, I think could be really, really helpful, and trying to make it really, really personal. Um, then another really interesting one is, depending on how you launch your programs, you can think about like a bring a friend type of campaign. And so, is there a way where you could get two clients instead of just the one? Right. And there's a couple ways that you could approach this, right? Where you could have someone sign up, you could give them a gift card that they could, gift to a friend to come do it with them. I think that's pretty effective. And usually the frame is something around like, hey, we know that the clients that are the most successful are ones that have a strong social network. And so we'd love to give you the opportunity to bring someone along with you on this journey for the 6 weeks. And here we've got a special gift card or half off, right? Or, I mean, you could find some way to incentivize them to bring someone else along with them on that journey, which then gives you an opportunity to help another person, and then potentially move them to a client afterwards. So that's another thing to think about: is there a way, are there ways that you can, for every one person, can you get two out of it? Right? Is there ways to incentivize, or even inviting them to bring a friend with? Is there anyone else in your social circles that you think this would be a really good fit for? And see what they say. Because we know, like, if someone's close friend or someone's spouse or things like that, um, if they're on board too, like, the likelihood of success is much higher, right? Because we just know with that social support, both people moving in the same direction is going to make it a whole lot better, right? A whole lot easier for that client to be successful. So we've got this main program that we're launching, and we should start preparing all of the assets for that, right? Then we've got, how are we going to kind of move people into this main program? We've got our list, right? That we should be building. We've got our list that we've been communicating with. We've got our kind of socials that we've been providing information, and it's probably worth starting to drop some teasers. Hey, we've created really something brand new that's going to launch in the new year, that's going to help XYZ person achieve XYZ result. We can even set up a little bit of a wait list if you want to, right? You can just segment out a piece of your email list where you have them fill out a form that gives them the tag for a wait list, and they maybe get access 24, 48 hours before. We can create a little bit of that kind of like velvet rope type of format, and so we can have people coming into a wait list. And that can be an easy way to kind of move people off of socials as well onto the wait list. Maybe people on the wait list get a discount off of it, or maybe, depending on your program, there's a scarcity to it where there's only so many spots that are available. But that can be a good way to generate some interest. But we should start throughout kind of the month of December, starting teasing this stuff. I'm not a huge fan of launching right after January 1st. I'm going to look at my calendar here on when January 1st actually occurs this year. Let's see when it occurs this year. So January 1st is like a Wednesday this year. So I mean, realistically, if you want to start really early in January, probably, that next week would work well, starting on the 6th. But honestly, for us, we're probably going to start the Friday, the 10th, or potentially the next week. I'm not a huge fan of if trying to launch things really close to the new year, just because things are still crazy. Like, people are still in kind of holiday mode, kids are kind of getting back into school. And I kind of want a week of people being back in their routines to be able to market and talk to them before we start launching any sort of program. So that's how we approach it. There's no right or wrong way for any of this stuff. That's just the way we've looked at it. And so, but I mean, number one is we're launching something, right? Like, that's the big thing. So utilizing reactivations, right? Reaching out to those people to drive them to the campaign. Can we do a bring a friend type thing where we're getting a 2-for-1 on every single one that we sell, and then launching the program. Another thing I want you to think about for Q1 is starting to collect testimonials. Okay. Using Q1 of this year to really dive in and collect testimonials. Put it on like on your list of things to do every week is collect one testimonial. If you can, getting some video testimonials from your clients. And so if you haven't done a great job of collecting these, make it a priority, because the more testimonials we have, the more social proof we have, the easier it is to uh, sell our services, and to convince someone new that we're trustworthy. Right? Really, that's what testimonials are. And so, making it having really making Q1 a priority around testimonial collection. There's a lot of things out there. It doesn't need to be all that complicated. A few questions around, what was life like before you started working with us? How have things changed since you started working with us? What did you think it was going to be like working with us before? And did those things end up being true? Right. And most likely they would be like, I was really scared, or I really didn't think I would be successful, but you guys made it so easy. Right. We want to just kind of tee them up. And so you can have them write it out, just answer the questions and write them. You could do a little Zoom call, and then you take that video and kind of just chop it up so you just have their answers. I think there's lots of different ways that you can do it, but just asking a few simple, short questions. What kind of results have you achieved? Um, what was life like before? What is life like after? I just kind of frame those questions to fit your vibe. Um, and then you'll be good. But we can't ever stop collecting testimonials. And I'm as guilty as anyone else, and where we're going to be making it a priority to get those testimonials again, and start getting that stuff up to date, because it's just so powerful. All right. I think Genevieve had a question here in Facebook, so I'm going to pop that guy up. All right. So she said, what are your recommendations for pre-selling, but setting it up to start later? Like, how do we keep them engaged or excited about the program that starts later? What will we do in CC to make it start on a certain date? So far, I'm noticing that the programs I make, when they sign up, it moves the start date to whenever. So, there's a couple things here. So what some people will do is they basically have a couple start dates. So let's say I have a signature program that starts on, I'm going to make up dates here. These aren't kind of relevant with what this year is. So let's say our program starts on January 10th. Okay. So you might have an early bird promotion that anyone that signs up will actually get an extra week of the program, and they'll start on January 3rd. Right. And so they get 7 extra days. So that can be a great way to um, kind of pre-sell in a way, but also we like to give people deadlines, right? People react to deadlines. So that's why we really like early bird deadlines. If anyone signs up before this date, they're going to get something of value. I'm not a huge fan of discounts, right? I'd rather find value adds. How can we add value when someone signs up early? Or maybe if they sign up early, they get a one-on-one intro call, whatever it is, right? But let's see if we can find ways to add value. Um, and so that would be one way that we can do a little bit of this pre-selling, is have that kind of early bird. Maybe they get access 7 days early, that kind of stuff. They get some other value adds. If you wanted to, like, you could have a pre-sale list, where anyone on the pre-sale list gets access early. Maybe potentially they get a $50 discount or something like that if they're on the pre-sale list. That's another way that you can do it. Again, not a huge fan of discounts. And so if you could find a value add instead of a discount, I think that would be better. But if I would usually have a couple start dates. We have our early bird start date, and then we have our normal start date. That way, there's probably not more than 4 or 5 days before when someone signs up and when everything actually kicks off. And so another way that you can do it too is you can set the program to have a specific start date. Right. The program is going to start on January 10th. That's when they start getting their content. But maybe they sign up on the 6th, right? So they won't get content for 4 days. You could utilize the bulk messaging feature and just be like, hey, we're 4 days out, super excited. Here's a couple things that you can work on today. Right. We could utilize the bulk, as long as people are tagged correctly. We can easily sort by that tag inside of Coach Catalyst. And then just send them all a bulk message. Hey, we're 4 days out, we're 3 days out, we're 2 days out, to just help kind of keep that excitement. Yes, it's not going to be automated, which is fine. It's only going to take you 3 minutes to do. right? You go in there, you sort by the tag, you select everyone, and then you rock and roll. So that can be an easy way to keep people engaged without necessarily having it kind of quote unquote automated. You can just go in and deliver something on that day, and you could also, if you wanted to do more, you could deliver a lesson or things like that. We can do those right from your main page, adding a global element directly to it. So that kind of helps. I know it can get a little tricky if people are joining at all different times, trying to like have like 15 programs that they could go on. But I personally like probably two programs. We have an early bird program, then we have a normal start program. The early bird program just has an extra 7 days in it. And then if someone joins before that, just utilizing something like bulk messaging to help keep them engaged and to engage with them because they'll have the app, they'll have it downloaded, they'll have all that kind of stuff. And then being able to deliver those aspects. You could also build out some resource folders that they could peruse. And again, just using automated messaging or the bulk messaging to direct them to those folders so that so they know that it's there and start getting some value and access early. Um, so Genevieve had another question. So what are you recommending in December is just building awareness, but start selling and offering a week or two before. So what are you recommending in December is yes. So I don't necessarily, I mean, depending on when you start your program, right? Like, I don't know. I'm of the mindset like most people are super busy leading up to Christmas. They're probably not making any decisions. The week between Christmas and the New Year is kind of a wash week for a lot of things. And so personally, we like to start alluding to something is coming during that time frame, but not actually really opening it up until after the new year. You probably could theoretically open it up after Christmas if you wanted to, and try and do it that way. I personally just like, mid January. That means I'm marketing kind of all at the beginning of January, but people are hearing about it in December, and we're just alluding to it, and we're just dropping hints on this and that throughout. And so I think that's enough to keep someone engaged. And then, yeah, we want to start selling probably about 2 weeks before, or we want to really start like directly talking about it, and then selling, really directly talk like hard directly talking about it a week before our early bird, and then have another week. So our probably promotion schedule is give or take 3 weeks long. Um, with the last 2 weeks really pushing towards those deadlines, the first deadline of the early bird and the second deadline to the start date. Um, so Crystal asked about would you suggest a Black Friday sale on something that starts in January? Like, so not a huge fan of like sales type of thing. But you could have someone commit to the challenge in January and they get a month of coaching potentially for free. So I would have to know your offer, Crystal, before we could really dig in and like figure out what makes the most sense. Um, but you could do it where, yeah, you have a Black Friday sale, and it's not necessarily a sale, but you have a Black Friday promotion where you're selling your program in January, your transformation program. But if they sign up now, they get an extra 3 weeks head start, jump start, that kind of stuff, where they get bonus stuff. So I think that could work, right? Because people are really thinking about buying during this time. But I wouldn't sell it in like November, right? Black Friday, and not deliver anything until January. I think that would be hard, and so I would want something in between, some sort of bridge where that's your value add most likely. So, if that makes sense, great. If you want to provide more context, just drop it into the chat, and I can see if I can help kind of dial that in a little bit more. So, all right. Oh, Chris had a little more context. I want to run an 8-week program, fitness and nutrition coaching on intensive 1-to-1. I want to offer free 21-day habit challenge for those who pay. Yeah. I mean, I think that's perfect. Like your 21-day habit challenge would be the lead up into the 8-week program. I think that could be great. And hey, if you purchase today, you get the 21-day habit challenge included in it. So I think that's a very easy, doable, doable one that isn't necessarily a discount, but like a value add into into what's going on. So yeah, I think that could work out well as a Black Friday promotion, and then you promote it again at the end of December or leading up to that actual challenge as well. So, and then you could potentially have an upsell, right? If people did want more one-to-one coaching, I think that's another really good thing with a group program is having an upsell into maybe 1 or 2 one-to-one calls where they can get that one-to-one help. Having that upsell, some people are going to take it. Just make sure you price it accordingly. And some people just want more one-to-one attention or willing to pay for it. So yeah, I like upsells into from group coaching programs into some one-to-one calls, that kind of thing. As long as you have the capacity, to do it. If you don't have a ton of capacity, just make it really expensive. So then it's worth your time, like putting your time into it. So sorry, my flu brain is working against me right now. But cool. If you do have more questions as you guys are jumping on, just drop them into the chat. More than happy to help as we're kind of talking about Q1 marketing. So just kind of review some of the stuff we've talked about so far. We should be thinking about our signature program that we're launching. If you need something, look at New Year, New You inside of Coach Catalyst. And there's a few other ones in there as well that I think would work well for New Year type programs. And then it's starting to look at, can we reactivate some of our previous clients? Great time of year to be able to reactivate clients, send out personal text messages, make personal calls, but inviting them in to do this program, because most likely things have kind of fallen off a little bit during the holidays, and all they need is a little bit of all they need is an invitation to come back and work with you. But we just need to make the effort to do it. And I like personalized stuff around that. Can we potentially pair it with bring a friend? Right? For every one person, can we get 2? And so can we strategize around finding ways to get someone to bring a friend with, type of thing. So we're getting more people into the program. And then the other thing I want to challenge you guys with is testimonials in Q1. Can we really make it a priority to get testimonials and start building out that database, both video, both written, and just start building out that database so that we have that stuff when we need it, because we'll need it for future programs. We'll need it for other things. But we don't want to be scrambling when we need it. We want to have that stuff in our vault so that we can easily pull it out and put it on landing pages and use it in social media and all those kind of things. And then finally starting to tease all of this stuff throughout the month of December as we're kind of leading into the new year. So but with any of this stuff, like, we want to do the preparation now so our holidays can be a little bit more stress-free, getting the landing pages done, getting the email sequences done, starting to strategize or develop the plan that we need to execute on, so that when it's time to execute, we can just sit down and execute, and we don't have to figure out what to do. So I think a lot of the end of November, beginning of December, before the holidays, is really this plan and prep time for January. Most of us aren't doing a ton of heavy selling in December. I think you can try and run something with Black Friday and that kind of stuff. If there's any promos you want to run there, there was a good thread going in the Facebook groups. If you want some ideas for promos for Black Friday, that kind of stuff. We're getting kind of tight on it now, but you can always throw some stuff out there. So yeah, I mean, this is good. Crystal, it looks like I was just reading your last comment. Looks like all great stuff. It's really about executing. I mean, people are in the mindset where they're going to be ready to buy in January. We just need to be prepared. So yeah, hopefully that was helpful. Hopefully that gave you some ideas. Thanks for jumping on, Crystal and Genevieve. Those are some great questions. It's always fun to answer questions live rather than just looking at myself and talking to a screen. So one more. Crystal just popped in. If one-to-one is priced at $500 per month, would $595 be the ballpark for 8-week group coaching? Would it be cool to make it group coaching? Would it be cool to make it group coaching, but a program that can be joined at any time? The program is Jumpstart Your Journey 8-week program. Yeah, I mean, I think $595 is just fine. Absolutely. So in our marketing, we want to use our one-to-one as an anchor, right? So if someone was going to do this program one-to-one, right, it would cost a minimum of $1,000 a month. because we're doing it in a group format, the price is, $5.95 for the whole thing. And so I think using that as a frame, and then again, we just, from the price standpoint, we look at how many people are saying yes and how many people are saying no, right? We want a number of people to say that it's too expensive. Like, that's okay. And so if 50-50, we might be priced a little too high. If it's 60-40, people saying yes and no, we're probably right about right about where people are valuing this. If it's 90-10, then we're probably a little too low and need to go a little bit up market. But you can easily, the next time you run it, go up a little bit higher if if everyone that joined was saying yes, right? And so, and then, Crystal, for you, I really talk about like the marketing behind it. And so, like, jumpstart your journey. What's like the sub headline type of thing? And so we want that to really like kind of find an emotional connection there. And so helping, like, maybe talk about the results, helping you, lose your first 8 pounds, or something around like, what result can I expect to achieve from this program? Trying to find a way to kind of uh, mingle that in, for lack of a better term. And so that we have a little bit more context. Jumpstart your journey, kind of what is the journey? Like, is it a fat loss journey? Is it a weight loss journey? Is it a transformation journey? Is it a muscle building journey? Is it a mental clarity journey? Is it a uh, jumping off the diet roller coaster? Whatever those things are, I think trying to get a little bit more clarity, so that when I look at it, it's like, oh, okay, yes, that's for me, or that's not for me, right? And so I think trying to add some more descriptor words in there, and I think that will be good. And just so, like, any of you guys know, like, you can always, like, feel free to drop headlines, drop stuff in the Facebook group, and we're more than happy to talk through them there, as well. So if you do want some insight, like, that's what that group is for, right? It's for people to help people, and for us to come in there and give you our insight as well. Not that our insight is always correct. Like, my goal is to just like give you some ideas. Challenging part with any of this stuff is like, there is no like right or wrong. There's kind of like some best practices, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But we just got to put stuff out there and see how the marketplace reacts, and how it reacts today may be different than how it reacts, another time. So you've probably seen also that we've launched, we've got our kind of Q1 marketing package that we're put together for coaches. We're calling it the Black Friday bundle, where we have landing pages, a landing page for your New Year challenge. You can use the one we've created or modify it, tweak it to fit whatever you want. I shouldn't say challenge. It's a program. We've got some lead magnets in there, a goal setting lead magnet, and a few other lead magnets that you can utilize in the new year. We got some Valentine's Day stuff, because as we start to get into February, right, we're getting into Valentine's and couples promos and that kind of stuff, those kind of things. And so those are in there as well. For anyone that's interested about Supercoach CRM, we're doing a webinar tomorrow. And I think it's at 10 a.m. Central. It was in the email today to be able to register, and there'll be an email tomorrow about it as well. So if you want to come in and check it out, we're going to walk through kind of what it looks like, the backside of it, and show you how it all works together. But I've talked about this a lot before, but in any coaching business, you really need two aspects to it. You need a front end and a back end. I think last Friday I gave the analogy of the restaurant, right, where we have a front end and a back end to a restaurant. Same thing with your coaching. Really, there's everything before a sale and after the sale. So before the sale is prospects and lead generation and pipelines and email marketing and text message marketing and email newsletters and all that fun stuff. And then once a person buys from you, now we have delivery, or delivery on the promise. And so typically we like two separate platforms to handle each of those aspects. So for us, Supercoach CRM handles that front end. Coach Catalyst handles the back end, the delivery system, and then they kind of work together to provide a really good experience. And then for you as a coach, when you're in one, you have a specific mindset versus when you're in the other. When I'm in Coach Catalyst, I'm thinking about coaching my clients and providing a great experience. When I'm in Supercoach CRM, I'm helping nurture prospects and helping move them to building trust with them, so that they ultimately want to work with us. And they'll hire us to help them be successful, right? And so that's really what this is all about. We create these marketing materials just to make it easier for coaches to be able to go out and get more clients, because we know most of you got into this game not to become marketing experts, but to coach people. And so if you can get a little help from the marketing side of things, save some time there, that frees up your time to go out and find more clients, serve more clients, and ultimately build a better business. So if that can help you at all, jump on the webinar tomorrow. We'll talk through it all. And we only open this up to a limited number of spots because we want to be able to onboard everyone and make sure that they get what they need out of it, because there's a lot of custom work that we do on the back end for coaches. So we can't bring in a ton of people at one time. Yeah, that's that. If you have any questions, you can always drop them in the Facebook group. That's where the most eyeballs are. And if you can help at all, if I can help at all, just tag me. So thanks for hanging out on this beautiful Tuesday. See you next week. Bye.